Hello and welcome everyone back to the one and only DBDLeague. I welcome you here by the campfire. Be sure to get some marshmallows to quickly roast them and of course to enjoy them, as unfortunately we did have Jojo here leave us. But with Jojo leaving, another door opens, and that is going to introduce the one and only Direwolf, the frontman of DBDLeague, to the desk here, who will also be explaining the sets. Now, we're going to be looking at Sinners versus Tremor here, Direwolf. What exactly do we have in store for us here as the casters, the viewers, and the players?
Thank you so much for the introduction. Glad to be back on the desk, this time with you for Sinners and Tremor. And we do have a very stacked best of three. Sinners, after the recent win against Tremor, hopefully coming out really, really strong. We are going to kick it off with the Cenobite, then the Spirit, and then the Plague coming out. Originally, we wanted to play the Blight as the tiebreaker, but as you all know, Blight is facing severe issues at the moment and needs to be fixed first, so the Plague will replace that. Killer Sinners also luckily finding their fourth player. It was very unsure for quite some time. But let's go over the killers here. Cenobite from Tremor, honestly, specTral, not too much of a surprise here. Tremor has shown us a very strong performance, and against the Cenobite. They really love this mechanical gameplay. They love taking body blocks for each other. So going into prediction early on, maybe, since the players are now already getting ready in lobby, we should see Tremor taking that, right?
Yeah, definitely, because Wispy has shown a lot of potential on Killer, and I do know for a fact, remember, now that Wispy is on a team with said players, this is a big opportunity for them to, of course, take a chance to learn how to play against the Cenobite, which they already have in the past, and now they get to do it in tenfold, because Wispy is a very, very good experienced killer, and especially on Cenobite. So definitely probably going to be looking at it, and I'm honestly seeing they've picked this set a lot, Direwolf. I mean, almost like the first game we casted together of DBDL, that was my first game of Season 9, was Tremor, and it was a Cenobite match, so super exciting to be seeing them play Cenobite again. And I do know they are probably very, very confident in this set. I mean, what is their like win rate when it comes to this? Have they almost won every single one?
Yeah, they are confident on the Cenobite. We have seen Tremor stumbling a little bit last week again when they had some problems after being put under pressure from the other team. We can only hope that this time or this weekend it doesn't happen, because evil spoken, Tremor needs this win. We have talked about it earlier a little bit. The Season 9 playoffs will feature the top 4 teams, and at the moment there are so many teams with this 2 wins, 3 losses standing, and with Tremor winning it earlier, moving to a 3-3, they would be in the playoffs right now. So Tremor needs to win. Sinners needs to win as well to stick to the midfield, but for Tremor today, it's kinda, are we going to keep up with Tremor for that 4th slot in the playoffs, or are we falling behind? So there is some pressure. Last week we have seen them stumbling. I really hope they are coming out stronger today, because they really, really need this. So, and what you need to do to not get into this difficult dynamic is winning this first set and is putting everything in. I mean, we will see Wispy coming in here on this Cenobite, so I do believe we will see a very, very aggressive playstyle from early on.
I do want to mention quickly that Wispy is a part of a does run a very harsh system when it comes to his teams. Of course, his system is not meant for everyone, but his thoughts and his reasoning behind it is to bring the best out of everyone. As an example, there is a movie called Whiplash. Now, in the movie, there's a person who is very aggressive, very, very aggressive with his students, music students. But that aggression, that anger, it should motivate the students to become their best. And I'm so certain that's what Wispy has in mind, that he likes to be aggressive with his team. He likes to be formal. He likes to be very harsh to make the players understand that what they're doing is wrong, and that is probably what some people can't handle. Because remember, everybody reaches a breaking point. Everybody reaches a point where they simply cannot take it any longer, and they do it. And we have seen that multiple times before. We can only hope, as you said, that I almost said X9, but Trem9 does not have a breaking point like they have before, because they lots of arguments come through. After all, it's a team game at the end of the day, and nothing is completely like, everybody has to agree on something. Everyone has to be together. Everybody has to be as one. And the moment that one person goes off the rails, that could send everyone into a complete panic. But
yeah, and this is the big thing, right? Sorry to interrupt. This panic that you can create in the other team when you show this chemistry together. And mark my words, I'm saying it every single weekend almost. Sometimes I feel like I'm repeating myself too often, but team chemistry is greatly underestimated, and especially competitive DBD has a habit of underestimating it. We see so many roster adjustments, we see players being shifted from team to team, but then there are these little peaks. For example, an Oboy knowing each other for so long and smashing it even in difficult circumstances. Elysium, Eternal, all of these teams, their efficiency is not just coming from having great individual skill, it's also coming together when everything is falling in line. And I do feel like this is the challenge for Team Tremor, to have this team chemistry, to actually being able to follow their game plans.
I can only be incredibly excited for what they have in store for us today, as we're actually going to be looking at so many more sets, and maybe even potentially a tiebreaker. Now, for the sake of me personally, Direwolf, I wouldn't like to see a tiebreaker, man. I haven't eaten since literally last match. I woke up 5 minutes before, had to get on my desk, got on and saw what was going on, and I had to pass such a weird match. I mean, super questionable plays were there in the previous match, but now we got to stick to the present. Now we got to be in the and only expect the future, as we're going to be seeing a Tremor versus the one and only Sinners, man. But as we're going to be
Sinners coming in here. Sinners coming in here with representing the entire South American community as well, recently making it back to DBDL. So that's why a lot of people are also huge fans of Sinners, and why they earned all their respect here, because basically they are representing a huge part of the competitive DBD league or the DBD community, even though the South American teams never make it with a huge number into the tournaments, because of course they're competing with EU and North America, the ping being an issue, but Sinners is always this sticking out representation there. Winnie going to take the first chase here at the Shack. That's going to be a quick drop, and Wispy just getting rid of one of the most valuable resources here. Will be interesting if we are following. That's going to be the case. Second chain is going to find its target as well, and that's going to be an early injury into the game. Winnie running towards the houses section, a very, very loved tile, especially against the Cenobite. You have a lot of pallets to work with, a lot of windows to work with as well, but he might be a little bit greedy here, holding W, trying to make it towards the next one. If this chain is hitting, then we are in this difficult 50-50 situation. He does win it whatsoever. Therefore, so far, a strong first chase coming out.
Definitely, but unfortunately for Vinny, this is going to be the end of his run here, even with the amazing plays that he did end up pulling off there. That is going to be the down at the edge of the map, which is actually not going to be too bad for Sinners. They might be able to pop this shit in time, but remember, a lot does come into question here, whether he reaches a pain hook or whether he's going to be able to interrupt it in time. Unfortunately, not. Oh, wait, it is going to be a pain hook. However, it is on a different gen. That could have been 2 gems right there if that wasn't a pain man. Huge plays. But Jason very close by for the save, ready to be going over in case of the opportunity appearing, and it seems like trying to snipe out Jason is going to get found out. Now going to be moving in over towards Water Tower, but instead staying around the loop, which is a smart decision. Staying on the hook is an even smarter decision for Wispy in this current moment, as it seems like we're not going to be committing to Jason just yet. Or maybe he was trying to set up a mind game, completely unsure of what goes on into Wispy's mind, because remember, after all, Wispy is a very big brainiac. The guy likes to think and do a lot of amazing and intelligent plays. but right now Sinners is doing a very good job of using it against him as they are going to be going in for the double save. 2 tags are going to be coming through, going to be committing onto Vinny, who Vinny also does have to be very wary about Original Pain. Not going to be hit with that chain right there. He's going to be going upstairs main, which is incredibly good for Sinners in this moment, as they're going to have that opportunity to pop that gen right there in the yard, as long as he lasts long enough for this chase to be working against him. Dropping down, that's going to be the instant chain, going to be breaking on top of him, but it seems like he doesn't know where he's actually going to be going, and it's not going to be a down. Wait, no, unfortunate for Vinny, as it is going to be a down. Gabe is going to get on the box as the second gen of the game is going to pop. A fast exchange, but beneficial for Tremor nonetheless.
Absolutely, yeah. Tremor is getting the second hook stage only now. Some fans would say, oh, 2 generators already in exchange, but keep in mind Cenobite being a relatively weak killer in the competitive environment, and also Wispy bringing it closer and closer towards that first elimination. Once you cut down the Survivor team to only 3 players remaining, you have a lot of an easier time. Phenom and teammate here a little bit confused, almost a little bit of chaos. That's going to be the drop of the pallet, but after that it's going to be really difficult there for Phenom going down as well. Vinny has been unhooked. Now the interesting question, will we see the hook onto Phenom, or will we just hunt our Survivor, who has 2 hook stages already? They are behind the main building though already, so very, very good job in taking the distance here. But now with Jason and Phenom being down on the floor, it might not even come in clutch if you're getting this tunnel out or not, because at this point Sinners will have a lot of tasks to solve. We do see the pickup coming in onto Phenom that is binding 2 survivors, busy with going for the reset. The 3rd survivor is here, so we know effectively that no one is working on a generator just now. They only have the chance to rotate back towards the main building. Jason has been picked up as well, so that's going to be the chase on this relatively difficult pallet, and that's going to be a quick down. That's going to be the elimination as well. An additional tag coming out. Sinners now also taking quite some risk here, and Wispy once more realizing that it was very, very optimistic to go for the pallet save there, and we might see a double down straight again, meaning that the other survivors are now rotating towards the pickup onto Vinny. And ladies and gentlemen, you can already tell what's happening here at the moment. Wispy is effectively binding all 4 survivors on being busy and on a to-do list, meaning that the generator pressure right now is going to 0.
This is an extremely bad situation right now for Vinny, as unfortunately Jason's not going to be able to get over there in time to take that down. Wispy going to be looking for another slug. Jason is going to end up perfectly dodging, but unfortunately it's a falling on the stairs there, which just seems like it would be a little bit of a mistake, but Wispy does not capitalize on top of it, as he's simply just going to focus on grabbing this quick kill. This is a very smart decision indeed, as we're actually going to be seeing a super tough situation that Sinners is going to be put in right now. Phenom did end up getting on the box, meaning that chain hunt is not going to be harassing them in this current moment, as we're still waiting for it to come up. But now Wispy's only job is to try and find the next person to commit to. Only 3 stages on the board, that meaning everyone fresh is currently still available, and all injured especially, so they are probably going to be resetting. Wispy's maybe looking for that said reset, maybe in the corner of the map somewhere, but finding this reset would be very huge for Tremor indeed, as I feel like this is one of these games that Tremor can very easily take against Sinners, and unfortunately interrupting that reset is going to be very bad for the survivors. Phantom is going to go down. Gabe going to be the only survivor that is currently left in this current 2v1 chase, but right now moving in towards Shaq, taking an insane chain, moving actually inside. They do end up safely making this window no matter what. Not going to be swinging at it to try and see if they can maybe hit with the pink, but not going to be looking for another chain. We do see Jason there in the distance inside of the middle of the map, trying to get over to pick up that down, but focusing on hooking Gabe right now is the only thing in Wispy's mind, and is a very beneficial state again for Tremor, as it's just back-to-back over and over trading states here at this point, man. And it's not stages, but states of the health, because I mean everybody's injured. This is such a good start. Phantom does not have any type of reset on top of them, and they can only pressure gens at this point, or try and maybe see if they can stealth over to some other corner to try and get, I mean, just a big start. Like, they need some type of step up on it to Wispy if they're gonna want a chance to even pop like maybe 1 gen or 2 gens. I feel like would be the best case scenario.
Absolutely, yeah. And trading stages can be fine sometimes if you gain this additional time. I mean, if we compare Vinny and Vin here, that's going to be 2 minutes of hang time. The only problem is if you don't use this additional time. And once you're in this 3v1 scenario, you have this one mate on the hook, one rescuing, and one being in chase. And that's effectively what's happening right now. Jason is spawned here in this chase. Phenom needs to go for the unhook. The only other decision could be that they go for one additional generator and then effectively facing the 4K. The problem is now also that there was some miscommunication going on, that Phenom is trapped there in the middle of the street while Jason is kind of looking towards them. They have solved this issue now, but Wispy will see the scratch marks, even seeing Phenom and now being aware that they are going towards the hook. So we will find the chain onto Phenom most likely. That's going to be a relatively quick down if we are following it, but Wispy decides to go for the survivor that just has been unhooked, as they are in the more difficult spot right here. We do see in the distance how Phenom is running around a little bit like a headless chicken, trying to solve or trying to put one fire out that is burning over here. Then Wispy is already coming with a flamethrower again and saying, well, Sinners, you might have solved the difficult question about a reset. Well, deal with this next. And Sinners, as you described it, is constantly busy. There is no generator being worked on, and we are running and we are fighting against a 4K on 3 generators remaining, which would not only mean that Team Tremor can ignore a 3-gen in the upcoming game, they can even ignore a 4-gen setup. And when you have this win condition on the Dead Dog Saloon, yeah, there are some complicated 4 gens, but if you can ignore that, well, then you really put yourself in a good spot. So Wispy will be celebrated in the VC here. Now it's all important though to not get too confident, not potentially overcommitting to any chase, allowing the survivors to take one additional generators here. But these chains, specTral, they're just too confident and too good. The survivors just don't get any room to breathe.
And with that being said, he does know where Jason is, at least his general area, so we could be seeing a quick 4K3 here. And remember, Phenom can easily bleed out and give every stage, because all the bleed out stages are given to the killer, which is honestly a change that a lot of people are going to try and abuse. Now, people would like to argue that it can, you know, cause for boring gameplay. I mean, we've seen it before with Elysium's Billy, in fact, you know, trying to go for the only slugs, and they had every single person bleed out, which, in my opinion, you know, it's boring gameplay, but it's our job as the casters to make it as exciting as possible. And right now, Phenom is going to get picked up, meaning that it is not just going to be a slugfest yet. We are seeing Sinners bring up such an intense and powerful fight to try and bring it back versus Wispy, not opting to see if they can maybe go for a hatch play, but no, they just want one more gen. I mean, 4K3 Direwolf, that's so difficult. And that being said, Jason is going to go down. The box is going to be given to Wispy. Knowing where the last survivor is going to be a lot of information for our killer here, which could be just enough for them to use it against him. But now Phenom going to be in the corner of the map. Is Wispy going to be able to find them? And it seems like that is going to be the case. He's trying to run around the cactus. There's no loops to work with, and he goes down. 4K3 given to Trem 9. Such an intense and very, very exciting match there, Direwolf.
Absolutely. This is the start into a best of 3, especially when coming in with the difficult task that you need to kind of make things better than last weekend. Last weekend was chaotic. Last weekend was not the performance we are used to from Team Tremor, and especially not when you're trying to achieve that 4th slot in the playoffs. Now we see a refreshed Tremor, we see a full roster Tremor. There was an issue last week as well. They seem to have a clear plan. Wispy is able to execute this plan, and looking on the survivor side, usually you can say, well, now they need to make sure that they are also playing a good survivor match to meet up with the requirements here and taking the first set point. But we are talking only about 3 generators here. Of course, that is still a challenge, and a Sinners killer cannot be underestimated. There can always go something wrong. We know the most incredible matches in the history of DBDLeague. We have seen a 4K on 5 gens with a trapper on Suffocation Pit because 2 people were stepping unexpectedly into a trap. So everything is possible in Comp DBD, but this mindset that you need is confidence now. You need to come in with wide shoulders, and knowing that you only have to repair 3 generators is definitely allowing you to do that. As we stated, Dead Dog Saloon can be really tricky. You have 3 and 4 gens of a difficult mana left and right. Now you kind of can ignore them. So what it needs now is a cool head from Team Tremor, nerves of steel basically, and just going for what they can do best, an exciting and coordinated gameplay on the survivor side. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will already hop onto the break and we'll show you the survivor side of Tremor, the killer side of Sinners, right after this short break.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the DBDLeague. I'm your caster, specTral, joined here by the one and only head honcho of DBDLeague, which is going to be Direwolf. Now taking it up alongside me, ghost casting this match with me, which is going to be Wee Jason for the side of Sinners of the second game of the first set, which is Cenobite. Now against Kenshi, Wispy, Zaphis, and Jaw. Now Wispy's going to be starting off the game by grabbing the box. Wee Jason having Bamboozle and a fairly interesting bit. Oh my god, dude. Bamboozle already getting some value, getting a pretty good mind game there onto Kenshi. Is actually going to be a very early tag for the game. Now Direwolf, the win condition is pop 3 gens. We did say just a bit ago that this win condition is very easy to meet, but it is Sinners we are talking about, and they are still a very good killer. I mean, after all, Wee Jason is no joke at all. The guy's showing his strengths on killer in every sense, especially his Wesker, so we can only assume to see how good is a Cenobite going to be. Now, what are your thoughts on said win condition?
Yeah, it's honestly a miracle win condition. We need something that is completely unexpected here, and I feel like we got at least a start for it. Kenshi going down relatively early. Unfortunately, we have 70%, now 50% on this gen, 75% over here, so we are honestly very close to the win condition already if these 2 generators would pop. But what do we have seen here at the start? This is what you need to do. Unfortunately, we cannot camp Kenshi. We don't have the time for that. We need to be aggressive. We need to spread some injuries here. Important side comment for everyone who's not too familiar with our rules. The teams have to lock in the builds before the first trial of the set, so there's no tactical switch possible here for the killer of Sinners. Otherwise, we might have even seen a Hex Devour Hope for something completely crazy and trying to somehow achieve the necessary result. However, first generator is coming out. That's half time towards the tie condition at least. 2 more generators will be needed for Tremor to be completed. We do spot Jar here, who has unfortunately quite some distance and is moving towards the corner of the map here, which is a smart choice because then you're giving your team members the chance to go for the generators. Kenshi is going into the second stage as well, and specTral, this is telling us that they are playing for the gens right now and not for their friends.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually a really smart decision in my opinion, because I don't think, like, I like to say for a lot of people, always try your best. Now, they are trying their best, but they're trying their best in a different way. They're showing off that they don't care at all about trying to get the most amount of stages, trying to get the most amount of outs, trying to get every gen possible. They just want everything and now. Looking for a chain on top of Kenshi. Kenshi is going to be hit right now. Wispy's going to be, or not Wispy, Zaphis is going to be around. From the heavens, dropping down, Wee Jason is going to grab the tag onto Zaphis instead of Kenshi, which is meaning that this is going to be a lot more difficult for him to completely match up. He does safely make this window again, but he is going to be going around, which might be a little tough for Kenshi to be able to catch onto, dropping that pallet, just trying to waste more time. And with that being said, that one pallet drop, whether he had anything that could have helped him out there, was just enough to pop all gens and waste enough time for the side of the survivors. Faulting it twice right now. Good fake right there, waiting. Maybe another fake, but no, he's just going to be walking through and watching him as he is not going to fall. He traps him. Wispy close by. Kenshi now going to be finally dead. The first death of the game at 2 gens, which is unfortunately in vain, as the win condition was to 4K at 4 and tie condition was to 4K at 3. But very well played by Sinners nonetheless, getting a very fast tunnel out there, but it is not fast enough. Not against a team like Tremor, not against a player like Wispy.
not going to happen. Yeah, now is the difficult task. Some people might say, yeah, well, it's over now. Why does it matter? Well, Tremor is staying on the survivor side, and it does matter how you win that first set. Because if you would get a 4K2 now for Team Sinners, that means, well, Tremor seems to be a little bit weak today. I can keep them under control, and when you're playing Killer in the second set, you will use that for your advantage. You will feel confident, you will feel motivated, you will feel stronger in the mind games. And if Team Tremor is smashing through all the generators and takes a couple of outs here, well, they will take this dominance into the upcoming trial, and they will say, well, the Sinners Killer cannot stop us today. And we all know what happens when a confident survivor team is popping up off in comp DBD. Then the Killer is really just on a run, trying to deal with them. And the Spirit is such a killer. You need confidence at the survivor side. You need to win these 50-50s. You need to have a good mood and a good chemistry there. So for Team Tremor, there is quite something on the table, considering last weekend especially. So we can only hope that they will be able to go through the generators here and take a couple of outs. That's unfortunate here that Wispy is just touching the gen when the pain rest punishment is coming in. There is going to be the chain hunt as well. Zaf is potentially the one rotating for the rescue, as we have one survivor here on the main building. That's exactly what we see now, but same as in the previous trial, 3v1 scenario is dropping the generator pressure intensely. Jar is being tunneled out, Zafis is slacked. Tremor might not make it further than this generator here.
I wouldn't assume that just yet. I mean, Wispy is going to be getting on the box right now. Maybe getting a long chase onto Jaw will be enough for them to pick up Zafis, and of course still have Jaw up by the time he is going to be picked up, and by the time they do get on gens, which would be very, very good for this team. Good, my lord. Insane double back there. But Wispy is going to be grabbing that pickup onto Zaf. Is not going to be committing to the box, which is a smart decision, not giving away his location just yet, making sure that he's not the final survivor standing before he's getting on top of the box, which is insane game sense. Although actually really insane game sense, but should actually be treated as law. Because a lot of people do make the mistake of working on the box being the last survivor standing. That is a very, very big crucial mistake that could very easily tear an entire game apart. But they are still going to have a fighting chance. Right now, Zaf is going to be focusing on getting on top of the main, which is actually going to be progress right now. He's trying to get that, and I don't think Wispy's actually going to be going for the save on Jaw here. That is a oh my god, insane plays here, as he is going to be completely catching Jason off guard, meaning that he's going to grab this completely for free without taking a tag to interrupt that pickup. But now focusing on Jaw. Jaw's going to have to be careful for Original Pain, not going to be able to commit to that second chain right there on top of him. But right now, Jaw's going to safely make his way over towards not the window, but instead over towards Shaq maybe. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the distance to make it, and remember, it's SA Ping, so he did overcommit to things that he shouldn't have there very, very harshly. Tries to pick up that pallet to see if he can maybe misguide him, or maybe grab the stun to get Jaw off of his shoulders, but right now he does not go towards that gen. They do pop his second gen, now committing over towards Wispy. 2 survivors fresh, but committing to Zapdos. Oh, wait, no 2 Wispy sending a gateway very, very close to him, maybe vaulting? I have no idea, but this is completely, or should I say a very decent situation for Tremor, as they are in a 2v1 situation with 1 gen remaining, meaning that just one good chase from either survivor would be very beneficial for Tremor to finish this last gen and just get maybe 1 out.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it is looking a little bit more chaotic on Tremor's survivor side than I was expecting from their very strong early game and how Wispy came in here. It seems like the puzzle pieces on the survivor side are still not 100% connected again after what happened last week. Without being too pessimistic here, that is for me just realistically analyzing what we see here, because we are used to a different gameplay from Tremor. From the first 3 weeks, we remember Tremor to be a very aggressive team, a very coordinated team that can barely be stopped from getting the generators done. And now, also realistically speaking, we are playing against team number 10 in the standings, and Tremor is really suffering here, and they are struggling. Zafis being the only remaining survivor who can work on the generators here. So we might get a generator somehow done, but beyond the end game, it will be really tough. And that's sad to see that Tremor here is still suffering from the internal difficult structure on the survivor side, something really not working out there. We can only hope that this is going to be fixed in the upcoming week. And there we have Zafis as well, and this is going to be the 4K then on a generator remaining, and this is something Sinners will benefit of, because now you know, okay, strong team, we lost the first set point, but we are able to keep them under control. 4K3 and 4K1 is not that much of a difference on the Cenobite. That the fact that you can even 4K on the Cenobite is telling you a lot here. And Jason staying on the killer side here, coming out with the Spirit in the next trial. I do think they profit a lot from getting this 4K here.
I do want to bring to point, even though Sinners is, what would you say, 10th place right now? This shows that if you are in DBDL, you are still not a joke. Even though Tremor is an incredibly powerful team, Sinners is still extremely strong. Like, yeah. I mean, we can't all be winners here in DBDL. If you put Elysium and Eternal, you can't just assume whoever loses out of those two is just an instant bad team. I mean, that's obvious. These teams are incredibly powerful, and we, Jason, just showed that. Although Sinners is not doing the best right now in DBDL, they are still bringing up quite the fight, grabbing a 4K1 versus a team that is, and I will say, should be incredibly powerful and definitely up there, very high in the standings. But as me and Dyer have said, these teams do struggle with, of course, internal problems. After all, it happens between everyone. What happened to Eternal when they disbanded? What happened to X9 when they first disbanded? What happens to so many teams? There's a lot of things that gets into these players' heads, and it really disturbs them, and it causes teams to break apart. But yeah, with that being said, thank you all for watching the first set of the DBDLeague, which was the Cenobite. We're going to be moving into our second set with we, Jason, as Darwolf said, on the Spirit. So super excited to see what that is, and we will catch all of you after our intermission and hopefully short messages.
Welcome back, everyone. It's one of the more dangerous maps in CompDBD. It's the Wrecker's Yard with this dangerous shack and the basement in the center of it. And we have Winnie on the Spirit here trying to go for an optimistic lunge with the ping difference, but Zafis is just barely getting away. First phase of the game coming out. We're trying to get on the Survivor, but Zafis confidently holding W, making distance away from the killer and getting for the vault as well here. That's quite some time into the trial already, not taking the injury just yet. Delayed vault coming in to force the mind game a little bit, and we're getting stuck in the tile. That's unfortunate, but there is no pressure anymore for Zafis. Instead, we have rotated towards Jake. He is now going into the shack. We very likely see the sacrifice of the shack pallet early. It's just another filler, especially against a killer like the Spirit. So far, it's a delayed first down. Tremor doing a good job here, because we have seen some way faster downs with the Spirit here, and in case he even wins this one over here, and this is such a good run for the beginning.
You know, whoa, okay, Jaw showing that he can also do the full power that the Spirit does, just appearing completely out of nowhere. I don't know if that was a spectator bug, lag, or whatever, but that was kind of funny to watch. And I was about to say, we can definitely see the difference here between the X9 survivors and the Tremor survivors, but Kenshi bringing out an extremely amazing chase there. Just completely shows power against the Spirit, getting a fairly decent chase, 1 gen out of that, which I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people's like, well, it wasn't 2 gens or 3 gens. This is a very good result. Spirit is considered to be either an extremely high S tier killer, or no, sorry, a low S tier killer, or an extremely high A tier killer. Very, very iffy on what a lot of people decide, but we, and me personally, I believe it's an S tier killer, and I believe downs and things like that are very, very fast. It's a very high result killer. So getting a good chase like that is very beneficial for Tremor, especially in this moment. Vinny going to be catching on to Jaw here, who's actually going to be pre-leaving, walking, seemingly having sprint burst there to his advantage. now going to be phasing on top of them. No, instead going to be going back over towards the hook. Caster's Curse hitting me like a truck, as now we're going to be seeing maybe potentially an interruption of the save. Now, who is providing the save? And it seems like that is going to be Wispy, as now Wispy's going to be moving over towards the top upper side of the map. Phase walking now, getting closer towards the other survivors, as Wispy is going to be pressured away from the hook. Enough for Kenshi to hit second state. And now grabbing back on to Jaw. There is not going to be any committing here just yet until Kenshi is either, or should I say, these three situations. Someone's caught out of position, someone takes a tag, or the hook comes through.
And we are going to see a little bit of camping action here. Very understandable, though. We have 4 generators remaining. Kenshi being 25 seconds away from the full elimination. So our Spirit really wants to make sure that we are going to see the 3v1 scenario here. However, one survivor is rotating and trying to come a little bit unexpectedly around the corner, maybe being able to pull Kenshi last second here. Will that be the move of Tremor? Will they be successful with that, keeping the mate in the trial? A second generator being popped as a punishment. We should see a third generator coming out, the one at Shack that we have seen being under work, and that's going to be the elimination by Kenshi right here. 3v1 scenario, Wispy, Zafis, and Jar. Shack actually not having that much of progress yet. I was feeling like that was closer to the completion here. Now Wispy has to move away. Our killer does not show interest for Wispy just yet. We have kind of a 3-gen setup towards that side we're currently looking at. That is something you can work with, I feel like, together with this generator here towards the fun bus as well. The other side will not be defended. So 2 generators remaining from now on. Zafis being here in this generator setup though, so we can only hope that he's able to make it out before Winnie is catching up to him.
Which is actually going to be difficult, but life is going to help him get a lot of distance on top of Vinny. Now, unfortunately for him, he's not going to make enough distance because he is injured. That is such an unfortunate case for a lot of players and a lot of people, because the moment you're injured by a Spirit M1, you're basically a running target. You're a complete, I mean, you basically might as well at that point have a megaphone in your hands, because oh lord, the survivors are so loud, and every time they get M1 by a Spirit, they just go down almost instantly right after. They have to make it to a pallet. They have to win a 50-50, and that is very difficult. But now, back into the game, as we're going to be seeing Vinny on the hill, an extremely good spot for him, as he can see over every gen that could currently be pressured. This is an insanely tight 3-gen, the Direwolf. And now catching up on top of the survivor, who I do believe is actually going to be Jaw. Wispy and Jaw's job right now is to try and get one on a gen and one person safely grabbing the save, because any more injures beyond this point would be extremely bad for Tremor and could quickly result in an insane snowball that would just tear this team apart.
Absolutely. This is the great thing about S tier and the Spirit. It can all switch in just a couple of seconds here. Winnie, however, decides to keep it safe, and I really like to see that. Sometimes in a moment like this, we do see the commitment from the killer player, trying to get a double down, trying to start slugging and applying more pressure. Instead, Winnie here taking the hook stages that he has, even though this one was a little bit risky with the greed there towards the hook, but luckily he was able to make that. Injured Zafis and healthy Wispy. Not the strongest team to remain with. We do see a self-heal, however, onto our Kate. So the good thing is that she will be back in business very soon. Decisive Strike would be there as a, well, bugged at the moment, so we will see that behavior is still giving it to us, but going to expire even with the bug anyway. Wispy in the next chase. That means that Zafis is now rotating towards Jar, going for the unhook right there. But again, we're in this dynamic now where all survivors are busy with a task. Either it's the unhook, either it's the reset, but Wispy also going for quite some juice here, forcing a whiff, and then the stun, getting injured only now. And we see this very beautifully, immediately turning the back onto the active generators, dragging the Spirit away and forcing the killer into this difficult decision making between, do I defend my generators or do I go for the hook and the down on a survivor? So really, really well played here by Wispy. Zaf is going to be in the next chase. Winnie getting confused with the footsteps, and that means that Kate will also have access towards the pallet and the non-generator area now. So Tremor playing the slow, Tremor playing the safe, but this is exactly how you tackle this 3-gen here. And if they keep a cool head and don't hand out this down to Winnie right here, then they have a good chance. But unfortunately, Zaf is going down here.
Yup, and fairly early on too. Eruption going to be applying on top of these generators. It's actually going to be enough to definitely get a lot of regression on these generators, and especially start their passive regression, should I say, because it's the instant. I don't know exactly what they changed it to, but I believe last time I checked it was like 7% that's instantly removed, and then plus the regression that's already being brought by it. So there's still a lot of gen pressure on top of these generators provided here by Vinny, which is very good for Sinners indeed. Now Jaw is actually looking for an opportunity to sneak over and quickly save Zaphis here, but it seems like he's just waiting. He's looking for that opportunity, looking over the truck to see if he can find Vinny's whereabouts and see exactly where his plan and where he is going. Now call out probably going to be coming from Zaphis and Wispy alike, as we're going to be seeing Vinny over here right next to the fun bus, meaning that the chase onto Wispy is probably going to be coming out here very soon. We have no sight. I don't know either as the killer or the survivor. We just do not know where the survivor is quite literally at all. And the question is now brought to light. Dude, if Vinny decides to check this locker just once, oh my god. Oh my god. Lord, he ends up checking the wrong locker, meaning that Wispy's not going to be instantly brought out and one-shotted thanks to the locker grab, but is now going to have an opportunity to get away from the gens, not going to be getting up that instant phase. Wispy in a very good spot right now. He's going to have this double loop to work with, wins that 50-50, now going to be looking at no forced hesitation right there. Amazing. Tries to fake it, but not enough, and Wispy is going to go down. Very well played by Vinny, using the phases in and out by Spirit to his advantage to completely catch Wispy off guard. And that is going to be the next down of the game. Trying to double it. Zaphis and Jaw are in another spot where now one person has to get on that gen and another person has to go for the save. It's the same dilemma we've been brought for so long. Now going to be setting up that base. Probably going to be going into him now. Oh, dropping it, unfortunately, on the wrong side. Losing that 50-50. Vinny's going to be grabbing another tag. 2 survivors injured, 1 person healthy. Still looking at a tough situation. Maybe could be looking at a reset here from Wispy to Zaphis, but switching over to our killer as Jaw's moving back over towards this generator. Let's see what exactly is going on, and chasing onto Wispy. That is going to be the tunnel on to him. Unfortunate for Huh? And the dead hard is going to come through. Okay, I want to make sense of this. This guy just hit dead hard in a situation where he almost didn't need to force it. In a situation where it's cross-pin. Like, Direwolf, that's insane.
And making it look casually. That's the biggest thing. Like, there was no, like, just like this, just like an auto DH. It was insane what Wispy is pulling. As you mentioned, cross ping. There's no, we cannot even talk about reaction time here because of the ping. It was simply the experience kicking in there, knowing exactly the speed of the Spirit, comparing it with thousands of situations during scrim, feeling when the killer would swing, and then having the experience as well to hit that DH. Absolute insane. Someone in the background said Wispy playing in the future, and that is kind of a good description here. Wispy looking beyond what we see on our screen and kind of anticipating what's coming up very soon here. Jar going down whatsoever, and now I feel like Tremor should get this final generator, because this insane dead hard does deserve an accomplishment here in form of the final generator. Tremor really earned it. Zaf is going for a good run again, holding W, trying to cause as much distance between himself and the killer as possible. A little bit of back and forth, but Winnie will stay the winner in this mind gap. However, you earned enough time to drag the Spirit away and allow the pickup on your other survivors. So a good job being done right here by the survivors, and that 5th generator is still possible. The generator on the fun bus does have some quite significant progress. We might see Tremor pulling back, going again for a full reset. That takes a little bit of time, yes, and that is going to be a good chunk of progress falling back on the gen, but it might be a good decision. However, with the Jar going down, they decide to go for a different strategy. They are now going for this little bit more risky playstyle, getting back towards the fun bus. Wispy is responsible to pick up Jar, but ultimately decides to go for the generator here at the hill. Will that be enough time, ladies and gentlemen? That is the difficult question right here. Zaf is going down. Now it all comes to the decision, and Winnie is going for the pick, giving Wispy some additional time. specTral, this will be a photo finish on this gen.
It's literally about to be the absolute last second. Cooking so incredibly close. Deja Vu on top of this gen, probably going to be facing over to see if he can maybe grab the distance, but unfortunately he's going to be forced away from the gen. 4K1 as he tries to spin himself out of the situation. Good lord, that was so close, but unfortunately for Tremor, that was not enough time wasted for them to completely grab this gen and get a 4K at 0 gens remaining. However, this isn't the worst result. 4K2 is very, very possible in Spirit, and after all, it is Tremor we're talking about here. They do have very capable players of such a result, so that is going to be quite difficult for Sinners to completely grab this win. But high condition is not out of the question, and they do still have a chance to win against Tremor. But like we've always said, and like everybody will always agree on, this is going to be a very, very, very difficult match, no matter what.
It will be, yeah. 4K2 to achieve that, even for Wispy, will be quite a challenge. And it's important to mention Wrecker's Yard is kind of the homeland of Team Sinners. In the winter circuit, they have played against Mastermind, against Spirit here on the Wrecker's Yard. And whenever it looked like Sinners will be out against the difficult win condition, then they were doing a really, really good job, forcing comebacks, being efficient on the gens. So Sinners smashing through all 5 gens and giving Tremor a hard time might be something that is very, very realistic. And we will find out very soon. We are switching sides, and we will be back right after a short break.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the one and only DBDLeague. I'm your caster, specTral, joined here by the one and only man himself, Direwolf, who will be casting alongside me here. Wispy's Spirit match versus the Sinner Survivors, which is going to be Bucky, Jason, Phantom, and Vinny. Because Bucky is going to be the first chase of the game. Now going to be moving into a Shaq. The golden rule of Spirit on Wreckers is take hit, go Shaq, drop pallet, die. And we forgot step 4. I think it was step 4, or was it step 3? I don't know, I don't remember, but that is going to be the first down of the game extremely early on, as Bucky is going to go down and is going to be brought to basement. Remember, there is no pain res that is not allowed on killers such as Spirit, so there is going to have to be a lot more decision making within these hooks instead of just simply going, I'll go for the pain res hook. But no pain res hooks are allowed. Vinny going to be progressing a gen fair off into the distance. Phantom also as well. As we move on to our final survivor, Jason is in the corner of the map. Not enough pressure on these gens here. Maybe going to be a little bit easier because remember, Direwolf, our win condition is 4K2.
Yeah, 4K2 is an okay win condition against the Spirit. It's an expectable win condition, but it's certainly not a great win condition. Wispy here needs to go for the kill onto Bucky as quick as possible. The first challenge will be getting the second stage. We were a little bit suspicious there about the lockers, but Wispy is moving towards the other generators now. Hex Ruin will do a lot of work here and actually tracking down Winnie just a centimeter short on that sword. They're not going for the injuries. Sloppy is coming out, is going to be a little bit punishing later on in case we do decide to come out with a reset here, but it's not going to cause too much impact as we still see a generator for the beginning. Winnie going down right here, Bucky being rescued, and we see a very understandable decision. Wispy is going back onto the Slug, but there is going to be the We Will Make It together with a medkit. That's going to be Bucky fully healthy, and now for Team Sinners we can only hope that he's going on a long run. I think we lost specTral there for a second, so I'll just keep going.
I'm back, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I don't understand what happened with my microphone. I guess it was bugging out, but as I was just saying, he does end up breaking the Shack pallet, chases on to Bucky. Now Bucky's going to be dying on the pallet. Quickly on to Phantom, as Phantom is actually going to be taking a tag here via M1. No phase required. Maybe another survivor moving in closer. Now we're going to be seeing Vinny probably going to be taking it up to try and see if he can help out. Phantom focusing on the totem. Rune is going to be removed. No gen pressure at all, as Rune is going to be passively regressing. Now I'm going to be seeing Vinny coming in to pressure this complete save. Now, I don't know if he's going to have the distance to be able to make it. He does actually do so. Swinging through to grab that down. Unfortunately, not able to get the pallet stun and save and free Bucky from the clutches of Wispy. That's going to be the first kill at 4 gems, which is going to be extremely bad for Sinners. They are in that tough spot. They do have the potential to quickly at least see if they can maybe make it to 4K2 to you know, try and ease the situation, but they need those 3 players at 4K2, and they need those 3 players to be all up when they reach 4K2, because this situation is incredibly difficult. And with the reset being found out, 2 injured survivors currently going to be chasing Vinny at the edge map, who's also going to be completely injured, meaning that this down is only just a matter of milliseconds. Quick eruption onto Wee Jason, as Wee Jason is going to be the person very, very far away from us in this current moment, getting and progressing on top of that generator. That is going to be the 2nd gen of the game, meaning that 3 gens is going to be remaining when it's done, but now chasing onto Phantom, as Phantom is going to be around the fun bus, swinging around, 2 people down. Wee Jason, last person standing. Direwolf, this is incredibly bad for Sinners.
Wispy on the grind. 4K3 is the task here. 4K2 is possible. 9. 4K4 instead is something that Wispy just casually delivers us here in this match. Potentially, at least, we do see the pickup going to happen onto Phenom here. Jason, now the MVP for Team Sinners, the rescuer, and Wispy is now aware where to look for the survivors, and we are moving back towards the corner with the fun bus. We do see Jason over there. We have a noise notification over there, knowing exactly where to look for the survivor. And what's happening now is a slugging game. It's a game between Wispy being in the dominant position and the survivors not only yoink Phenom being grabbed right there from the window. The survivors trying to deal with Wispy, and they not only need to be able to survive this, they need additional wiggle room afterwards to put some percentages into the generators, and only then we have the chance for a comeback. So this reset over here is a good start for them. 2 healthy survivors is basically looking better than before. But Jason already in the chase again. They don't have free time. They don't have time to rotate towards the gens. They don't have any wiggle room being given by Wispy. Jason is moving into the basement. We can only hope that he makes that in time. The unhook is coming through, but it will end in a trade. Winnie is a healthy survivor, can work on a generator right now, as we do have a little bit of chance. We do see that here, but it's 20% specTral. Sinners is fighting a dominant power here.
It's like, I'd like to say, an unstoppable force versus an immovable object right now. Sinners being kind of the immovable object, as they are not actually in the worst spot, but they are continuously fighting back over and over, as that is going to be the down onto Phantom. Now, will Vinny be able to keep up this strength, this power play, this dynamic of just going back and forth between 2 survivors being available at every single given moment? Now going to be seeing Wee Jason running out. Wispy's actually going to be blocking him here. Perfect blocking coming through, as he's actually going to be running in towards basement to completely force locker. Could we be trying to find another survivor? Checking the other locker to see if they can maybe potentially find Vinny, but Vinny's actually going to be showing himself up out in the corner. Now going to be looking at a shot, committing to someone else. Will he be able to get out of the locker? And it seems like he checks the wrong locker once more. Vinny's going to be coming out of the basement. He cannot make the window. He's now going to be taking a tag, moving in closer, hopping out of the locker right now. Probably going to be focusing on to Wee Jason, but no, instead we're actually going to be going over towards Vinny, as Phantom is going to be the only person alive. He does understand that he has a lot more distance on top of the other survivors, and now forced away from the killer is going to be in another tough spot, going back around towards the window. Wispy is actually going to catch sight of it, but Wee Jason's actually going to get another spin, not going to be faking that. Instead going to be making his way over towards another pallet, but unfortunately, that is not going to make it. Stunning through that pallet, down coming through. Vinny going to be going over for this pickup once more. Phantom is going to get picked up, so he's going to be in a little bit of a tough spot, but now going to be immediately chasing him one more time in this situation. Now, Phantom is going to be the sight and focus of Wispy as he's going to be safely making his way over towards the L wall, focusing on the T wall maybe, but no, forcing him onto the other side. Revaults that window, going to be another phase walk coming through, end up getting spun once more, losing sight of him completely as he makes his way over towards a filler pallet that has been dropped, but it is not broken. Wins that 50-50, but no, unfortunately he gets grabbed. Oh, such a start for Sinners. Dude, that was amazing, Dire. They ended up coming back there, getting a pickup before a hook. That's insane.
Yeah, I told you all, Sinners and the Wreckers Yard, they are fighting there. This is their homeland. We have seen so many comebacks of Sinners in the winter circuit. I don't know if it's something magical about this map that is in combination with Sinners creating this, but they are so strong once they are having this dynamic. Unfortunately, they are still running after the pressure of Wispy. They were just about to gain some freedom for themselves, but now we do see them struggling again. Winnie going down right here, Phenom being healed in the distance. Jason will find the same onto him. Going for a full reset is a good decision here regardless, because staying injured against the Spirit is just not a good solution. The good news is Winnie is a fresh hook, so you gained 2 minutes of hanging time. You can put it into the generators here, but since they have just been busy with the reset and now David potentially going into the next chase, he will also be in a tough spot here. Wispy just giving them no wiggle room, and this is something that deserves special credit here again in this trial, making sure that we are keeping these survivors under control and that we are constantly keeping them busy. Somehow they need to find a good way here for the pressure onto the generators. We do see the next injury coming out. Is it going to be a run for the Legends, just as the one we have seen, just a centimeter away there from our near, making it over the pallet? A swing and a miss coming out. Phenom on the run. This is exactly what Team Sinners needs here. We need distance, we need time, and we need generator progress in exchange. The point tag to make it into the pallet, but I doubt that the survivor will be around. So Phenom going to be eliminated as well now, leaving Jason and Winnie with 1 hook stage each, and now with a 2v1 specTral, it's even more difficult.
God, man, I don't know. You know, I would like to say this is such a tough match for me to cast, man. I'm such a big fan of both of these teams. You know, Sinners representing the side of South America, representing the almost the entire Spanish scene. I mean, we've definitely not seen many should we say Spanish teams around like Sinners before. They are definitely one of a kind. But teams like Tremor with something to prove, because remember, a lot of people do like to disrespect NA, but NA has brought quite the fight over these past few months, especially with the head of the charge being a Wispy himself, bringing up these amazing results. And we can see that example even now with 4 gens left and just such an amazing match. I mean, here we were doubting Tremor, saying that, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be a difficult match. I mean, we kind of do also just have to say that it's for the viewers. It's our job to make Sinners seem like they do have a chance, but we didn't expect for it to be like this. This is devastating.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say sometimes it can be difficult to give a team a chance, because at some point you are leaving that realistic area. And I feel like it was possible, and it was in the space of becoming realistic when they had a good early game, when they went for the saves, and then having this longer run. At this point, it was still realistic. Now, I have to agree to you, it is becoming unrealistic. Jason is going down here with this win condition, and then we don't have to lie to the people, and I think people figured, like the Sinners fans figured it out itself. The hope is fading here. We are going to see the second hook stage onto Jason. Winnie in the distance will be in a tough spot. It might be nice if Sinners is taking a hatch escape here or an escape through the exit doors. Of course, you would still lose the trial. You would still lose 2-0 to Tremor because of the first win condition being the completed generators, but it would be a nice finish here to have a survivor of Team Sinners going out of the door, so that can be something we can root for here, and as Team Sinners fans as well. Wispy is going to cause a little bit of confusion towards the survivor there, trying to fake that he's going on a potential chase, closing the chase in the hatch in a second here, taking a quick look onto the survivors. Winnie now, that's going to be the final question for the Pride. Will we see an escape?
Not an easy situation to be saying that as well. We do have 2 perks that could potentially help out in that case, but right now Vinny needs to get on a gate without being caught by Wispy right now, and almost being caught here is oh my god, Dire. He has sight of both of the gates. Oh my god. Oh my god. Vinny, no. Vinny, they're children.
This
Vinny.
is a finisher.
Vinny,
This is a finisher,
they're
Winnie.
children.
This is the finish, Winnie. This is the finish we need. Wispy, when will you? Hello, Wispy. And now we realize watching that later in the VOD will be a great surprise. But this was so good, and this is why we love Sinners as well. Sometimes they're putting up something so unexpected and so out of nowhere, and even if it's just a finish like this with a little bit of a meme, well, then be our guest. That makes it so great. Not entirely sure if Wispy was missing that intentional or not. Certainly running into the pallet here, intentionally doing a little bit of memeing for that final chase. Was faking it, the DH coming out as well. So while we watch Winnie and Wispy enjoying the little bit of fun, and the 1v1 coming out as well here towards the end, will Winnie be able to die to the endgame collapse? Well, we do see a little bit of moonwalk, and the answer is no. Well, then, congratulations to Team Tremor. Well done today. Very, very deserved 2-0 here. Sinners, great show. It was an entertaining match. specTral, we say a huge thank you to you for being here on the desk for 2 games overall. Thank you so much for being here.
I definitely am very honored to be casting for DBDL, especially watching these intense and extremely entertaining matches, especially like a finish like that. That was just nothing short of amazing. Super, super excited to be